my name is Natalie, and today I'm going to be talking about I Have Lost My Way by Gayle Forman. So, if any of you have ever heard of Gayle Forman, she is also the author of If I Stay, which also became a pretty popular movie a few years back. Now, I had definitely heard of this author. I have not read If I Stay, but I was intrigued when I first saw this on the shelf. I mean, if you look at it, it's just very aesthetically pleasing. It's very pretty looking. Even the back with the way that the colors work is just pretty. Like, you look at this book and you see this looks like a good book because it looks nice. Now, that's not the only reason that I picked it up and decided to read it. While I cannot exactly remember the exact reason why I said I need to have this book, I do remember why I picked it up in the first place and started reading it. Basically, I was on vacation somewhere and I needed to pick one book that wasn't going to be too heavy, but that would be able to last me pretty much a whole week. And I was like, okay, I've never read a book by this author. I really want to read a single, not like part of a series, so that way I don't want to rush into the next book and, feel very lost if I finish it before I get home. So I'm just going to bring this one. And I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what was going to happen in it. And when you only take one book with you, you're kind of fearful, like, is it going to be good? Is it not? And this book was so good and blew all of my expectations out of the water. I mean, it was just so amazingly written. So the story follows three main protagonists, Freya, Haram, and Nathaniel, who quite literally crash into each other at the beginning of the book, and for the rest of the story, their fates are kind of intertwined in the way that the book plays out. The book does a very interesting kind of way of telling a story by having them interact in the real world, like when they've just met, and then having flashbacks to each of their pasts to kind of make it so you know about the character's past, but they don't really know about each other's. And it's just really interesting and fascinating to kind of figure out about these characters and kind of how they impact each other's lives. So let's start with Freya. Freya is a girl who is pretty famous among her, this setting that is in the book. Though it kind of takes place in the real world, none of these are real people. Obviously, they are characters. And in her world, she's famous. But unfortunately, she has lost her voice, or at least her singing voice. She can talk, but when she tries to sing, she becomes increasingly very nervous and no words will come out, except for a little bit of maybe garbling sounds or very, very pressurized words that don't sound like a song at all. And she's kind of on her quest to find her voice again. She's been all over looking for doctors and people who can try and help her, but nobody seems to be able to figure out what exactly is wrong with her. Throughout the course of the book, you kind of find out how she lost her voice and what is impacting her so much about her singing career and kind of just her entire backstory. Of the three protagonists, she almost is kind of the main one. The story is basically set around her and trying to figure out her quest, which is trying to find all of her previous recordings and trying to connect basically with the world and becoming something more than just a star. Next on the list is Haram. Now, he is homosexual and his family severely does not agree with this and almost will disown him if they find out they're trying to set him up with a girl, and he does not know what to do, and he has this very close person in his life who is kind of like his significant other, but not exactly, and this person dumped him before he could tell his parents because he thought he was too shy to tell his parents. And throughout the course of the book, he's dealing with that loss as well as trying to figure out what to do next and how to tell his family and how it will impact the rest of his life. Third on the list is Nathaniel, which probably has the saddest backstory and the most character development throughout the entire book. Nathaniel, at the beginning, is when they fall literally on top of each other, is concussed, and he wakes up and he says he needs to get somewhere and he needs to do something. He's very nervous throughout the whole book, and his past is kind of not revealed as much as the others. And you're really trying to figure out what's up with him, and kind of the ending is where you really see what kind of path he's on and what his life really is to him. Basically, he lost his father, and his mother left the house because his father was too juvenile, and his father says that he has formed a fellowship with his son, and a lot of the references that he has are with the Lord of the Rings. And as you see throughout the course of the book, Nathaniel carries around a copy of the first Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and he kind of has a very personal relationship with the book, and you're trying to figure out why he's so invested in this Hobbit book and why he's there in, I guess, New York or wherever the book takes place, why he's in that specific setting, and just what he's doing so far away from home. Where is his father, who was supposedly supposed to pick him up at the station when he got off, and just a lot of twists and turns coming from his direction, way more than the other two main characters. Coming away from this book and after reading it, I felt very wowed. There's really no other description except to say that it was influential on me, and it rightfully earned its place on my retiree bookshelf. It definitely has a lot of sad and really depressing content in it, and if that turns you off, I probably would not recommend it to you. There are a lot of issues that are brought up in this book between talking about fame, homosexuality, and even potential suicide type of things in this book. While those are all very deep and discerning topics that might turn a person off from reading a book, the way that it's written, it's so beautiful, and you almost don't mind that it's like that, if you understand what I mean. You kind of just take it to heart and really feel like it impacted you and it did something good for you. I mean, what is the point of us reading stories is to learn more about ourselves, and this book definitely will make you think, will make you find certain ideas, and will make you develop certain ideas about the world and about people, and just kind of give you a view of the world and from like a higher up perspective, kind of like you're looking at an aerial view of something, of the world, and you kind of find a certain thing within that, and as you're looking over the aerial view, you discover things that you never would have if you had never read this before, which I think is a really good thing about books. If they can take you out of this world and make you think and make you see the real world as something different and can help you understand it better, the book is doing its job, and that is definitely the case with this book. So I would definitely recommend I Have Lost My Way, even though it's kind of sad, depressing, but it definitely has good values and a lot of important topics that need to be talked about today, and it's a really good book. So, I hope you read it.